guys, welcome back to another video. It's your girl Slee with another message. So today it's a public holiday. In some places of the world they call it a bank holiday. Today is a day of remembrance in South Africa for Youth Day, which was on the 16th of June, the day where we remember the youth of 1976 that paved the way for the youth of today, my time, and after obviously their time in 76. So today I took my niece to Constitutional Hill. It's in Johannesburg, the CBD. And we had a guide that took us through the different parts of the Constitution Hill. That place was a place where people, criminals, people who were also political activists, and people who were just like you and me going about their business were put into prison if they didn't have a pass, which was an ID, an identity document, or they were political activists, they were part of political rallies, because in those days it was apartheid, where we had a lot of inequality when things were very divided and there was no equality across the different races, religions, and anything that you can think of that can divide a nation or home. So it's a very historical part of our country. The guide that took us through, it went back to the 18s, into the 19s, and obviously even the time when our own parents, grandparents were being born, it was there. And formerly it was for people obviously who did criminal acts and did the unthinkable, and then it transformed into a place where a lot of people who were non-white were put into prison. It was very emotional and also eye-opening. The reason why I wanted us to go there, my niece and I, so I've been there before, he hasn't, and I think it was a good day since it was the day of the youth and it was the 16th of June to take her there. As someone who was born in the 2000s, my niece, obviously she wouldn't have that. She's heard of apartheid and the injustice that happened before she was here. But I always feel, even with me, I remember as a youth, school programs, as in varsity, even as an adult, we are all into places to remind us of where we come from. And I wanted her to come with me so she can have an idea of what people actually went through for her and her peers to be afforded this freedom that they now have. And Mandela, in one of the videos, as we walk through the Constitution Hill, he mentioned something about the reason why we do this is because we don't want history to repeat itself. And it's so important because the people that were with us as well were people from overseas, people in America, Europe, somewhere in Belgium. I heard some people say they were from Belgium. So it's a mixture of people who actually wanted to know what was our country built of. And as you walk through, they've obviously made it very more appealing. There's museums there, there's recordings of people who are still alive, even young people as my niece and myself, who were put in prison because maybe they went to town, not maybe, they did go to town in CBD and didn't bring their passport ID documents, and they were put in. A lot of disruption in people's lives occurred during those times. And I was telling my niece, you know, sometimes we mustn't just assume that people were given the same opportunities as we were. And just because somebody's your age and maybe isn't in varsity doesn't mean they didn't want to go in varsity. Maybe their lives were disrupted and they were not afforded an opportunity, or parents were not afforded an opportunity because their lives were disrupted because of what happened in apartheid. So there's just a ripple effect of what people might be what people can, like, you assume of what happens to you, right? It's historical. And yes, we can change the future, we can look at the past, but we are in charge of changing the future. But some people really, if I reflect, one of the prisoners, there was a men's prison called number 4. Apparently, not apparently, it was the most awful side of the whole prison, because a lot of ridicule, embarrassment that men who were non-white faced as they were brought into prison. And then there was another part of the prison for women as well, just as, you know, embarrassing and just ridicule people's dignity as well. And one of the stories I was reading was the story of a lady. As you go into the women's cell, a lady who was in matric, I think it was around Good Friday, she was asked by her granny to go buy fish because she wasn't eating meat during that period. Very devoted woman of God, her granny was, and she asked her, can you go get me some fish? So she went to town, as you would normally go to town if your parents ask you to go do something for them. At that age, she was in matric, and she also had a bag with her matric dance dress, right? Because it was going to be a matric dance, I think, the following week. So unbeknown to her, she didn't know that she was about to be stopped and thrown into the women's jail because she didn't have an ID, an identity document. And she missed her matric dance. In the prison cell, there's an image of her actual matric dance dress that she would have worn if obviously she was able to go and attend the matric dance. And this lady looks like she could have been my mom, she could have been my aunt, she could have been anybody. And it just, there's so many examples, similar examples of people going to town looking for better opportunities in Joburg. And this particular lady, as she's talking now, because she's older, she just talks about how her life was disrupted. Because even when she went to varsity to study at the University of Wits, her life was disrupted because during the course of the years she was there, she was also stopped. So it wasn't just one time, she was stopped and she went to prison for several days, months, and she never eventually graduated to be a doctor because her life was just so disrupted, and it's just not her. It's a lot of other similar stories of moving about, minding their own business, and then all of a sudden being thrown into prison. And these are the faces of people that could be related to us. Some people, obviously, they had relation to them and they could relate more closer because they were related to them. But I was just reflecting how this could have been anybody. If I was born in that time, it could have been me. I went to matric, I'm a black woman. I'm always asked to go get stuff in the shops. At that age, I was asked to do things for my parents. So I just wanted to share this particular reflection of going to Constitution Hill while it's still fresh, because I think it's important for young people. We are so focused on things that are, to be quite honest, yes, they are important, but we really have a job. Not we, because I'm now not as young as the youth, but obviously I also have a role. But young people, you know, those who were born in the late 90s, early 2000s, you have a job, you have a duty to be your ancestors' wildest dreams, to be a reflection of what our political activists fought for, and to not shrink into the injustice of what was fought for just because it looks familiar in wherever you find yourself. And I pray that you let go of things that are not important, things that are just really not going to serve your children, your children's children. We all have a job, we all have a duty to reflect on what we can do for the generations to come. I am a product of the generation that was before me. You are the product of generations that were before me, even me, and those even beyond. So we all have a duty. I also wanted to share just a reflection court, which is the highest court in South Africa, and just being inside the court was also very, because now it's a reflection of everyone. Everybody has rights, everybody's equal. Not certain people are equal, other people are equal. The way it has been done in terms of architecture and being rebuilt, and the walls and the numbers and the languages that represent the country of South Africa, and the bricks that were Constitutional Hill are now form part of the new emerged South Africa, which is hopeful, which is equal, which provides everybody some room to be dignified. So yeah, just I think every year I'm gonna start doing this. Every year we should all aim to go to places where history was made. Forefathers made a way for us. It could be in your country, wherever you are. It's humbling to be reminded of what others had to go through for the sake of you being able to move about as you are able to. So I just wanted to share this because I don't know, I'm just feeling very, you know, proud, emotional. There's a lot of emotions like in my head. I'm like, it had to, whoever came up with the Constitutional Hill and the practices during apartheid was the most evil person, like the evil people. But like, to get these ideas to humiliate people, you have to be evil. Like, why would you be so creative in making people humiliate themselves? People not eating for months on end, women being given pads for 3 months, 3 pads. I'm like, my goodness, and they have to reuse them. That you have to be evil to come up with those things. And I just pray that as a generation, younger, older, do not, the worst thing you can ever do to a person is make them feel like they don't belong, is humiliate them. Now in 2025, there's other ways people humiliate people. People humiliate people because they don't have the same profession as they do, because they're not educated as they are, or they don't come from the background as they come from. Man has always tried to divide. Man has always tried to make people feel less than, humiliate people. I just pray that we break down these walls, we listen what divides us, and you know, make big what makes us together. Our differences really, you know, make us more united. So I just wanted to share this because, wow, I don't know, I was there before, but I think that's the thing about going to museums and places of remembrance. You have a different perspective all the time. So my challenge to you is, every year take your children, your nieces, your nephews, your grandkids to a place, you know, a museum or whatever place of remembrance where they can actually say, oh, this is what I was, because of these people, because of what happened during those times, I was able to be here, you know, and live so free and be able to go to school wherever I wanted to go. I think it's important for young people to know that. So have an awesome day, guys. Bye.